Today is a very important day. It is the day that New York City, thanks to Councilmember Brad Lander, the chief sponsor, and the other council members supporting the bill, are introducing legislation to ban employment credit checks as a matter of civil rights. And we're here today with esteemed council members and members of the Coalition to Stop Employment Credit Checks. This is a coalition of labor, civil rights, students, and other organizations that have come together to end a practice that's been growing in which employers check people's credit in the hiring process and making determinations about promotions. And many New Yorkers have been blocked from jobs because of information in their credit reports, even though there is no demonstrated connection between your credit information and your job performance.
We see so many people gathered today, students, workers, communities of color, who know that a bad credit history reflects really very little to nothing about someone's fitness for a job. What it reflects is the inequality in our economy.
Because no New Yorker should be denied a job they're qualified for because they got stuck unfairly with unpaid medical debt, or they had to take out a loan to go to school, or because of pervasive mistakes on credit reports, or because they got laid off and had to put the groceries on the credit card for a few months in order to feed their kids.
Several years ago, I applied to go to college with the hope that it would open up the door to future career opportunities. Little did I know that the debt I incurred for my student loans would shut doors to employment instead. My loans grew so massive that I eventually could not afford to stay in school. When I came back home, I went back to work in retail to help support my family. I had already worked in retail for several years and quickly became a manager. In 2012, I applied for a full-time managerial position at a large department store, for which I was more than qualified. In the interview, the store supervisor told me that there would be a credit check. It was insulting that he was implying that I might be a thief if my credit was bad.
You know, people hear the term credit bureau and they think, oh, that must be a government agency, right? You got the Bureau of Engraving, you got the Bureau of Immigrant Affairs. No, they do not have the public interest as their mission. Their mission is to make money. They're for-profit companies. They're not accountable to us. We should not allow this kind of unaccountable agencies to determine the employment future of any of us, of anyone in New York City.
During the Great Recession, I lost my job, as millions of other Americans did. And a couple of months after that, I had a serious sports injury. And when I lost my job, I lost my health insurance. There was no Obamacare. After that, I had large bills. I had to file for bankruptcy to get a fresh start. And when I was ready to go back to work, my savings were gone. A friend of mine who got me an integrated Bergdorf Goodman told me that there was 2 openings at the store. At that time, I had over 20 years experience of luxury retail on Madison and Fifth Avenue. I was told there were 2 openings, and I would be a good fit. After the background check, I was turned down for the job. This happened to me at many, many other places.
There is no evidence that credit checks predict how well a person will choose a job. That's why using credit checks in employment is not only unfair, but also may violate anti-discrimination laws. Employers are simply not allowed to select workers based on litmus tests, like credit checks, that are more likely to screen out workers of one race and have nothing to do with choosing a qualified applicant.
In my district in Sunset Park, we have a lot of immigrant communities as well. So this also impacts our immigrant communities, and it impacts them greatly. They're already impacted by so many other issues. This is one of them that can be solved, as Brad and everybody else on this team is saying, easily.
The practice of using credit checks as part of the employment application process is pernicious. It often prevents people from disadvantaged backgrounds who are more likely to have bad credit ratings from getting a job, and it impacts college and professional school graduates who went to school so that they could get a good job and who are coming out of school with unprecedented debt levels.
We have a broad base of support to get this done in New York City, and now is the time, because as you've heard, students are drowning in student debt, tuition's going up, and they're struggling to get jobs in this tough economy.
There was a point in the past 2 years that my COBRA expired and I didn't have access to health insurance, but I still needed my medicine. And I was not able to pay for that medicine. It was $3,000 a month for 2 pills. That bill has now tremendously affected my credit score. That doesn't mean I'm a bad person.
Our responsibility as a city is to be sure that everyone get back to work. That's what we are, working class and middle class, we want to get back to work. So using credit report as an obstacle for an individual to get a job is wrong, and I have no doubt that this legislation will be very helpful, especially for working class and middle class.